So Curtis just came out with a video says titled DaVinci Resolve Studio AI Voice Isolation Feature Demo Inspired by the legendary Curtis Judd. Okay. Now, if you've been following along, my videos, you probably aren't because a few people watch them. I've been calling Lewis and Curtis out on their 32-bit float multiple ADC nonsense, in my opinion. Anyway, this video is just more like, are they trying to troll me or something? Lewis has been making videos like almost every day for as long as I've been following him, which is years. I've started watching him. He's in New York. He moved to Texas. So he makes these videos every day, sometimes multiple videos a day. And he's always hammering on, all these tech companies and stuff like that. And because of it, he has no real time to work with audio or video equipment. He loves to. He wants to. So occasionally he will. And when he works on it, because he really hasn't worked on it in a while, because he's spending all his time ranting every day about this or that with, these corporations and stealing your data and stuff like that, he doesn't really have time to work with the equipment. So he's just basically, he doesn't have the knowledge anymore. So that's kind of stuff I called him out on. I was like, you're saying stuff that's stupid. But he just got upset and then stopped talking to me and called me an absolute psycho. I did a video about that too. Anyway, so in this video, it's just more of this where he's geeking out on this equipment, but he doesn't work with it anymore. He doesn't understand it. And so I'm going to go over this very short video he put up and just give you my reaction to what he wrote, because I think you should know it. I would not, some of the advice he's giving here, he's not giving advice, but if some of it you might misinterpret and do something that I would not do. So in the first, he puts up these title cards, and the first title card reads, when using the output of someone else's mixer and mics, you never know what to expect. This is the output of the mixer directly plugged into the input of the Zoom F3 field recorder set to line level input. Now, what he's going to show in this video is this guy speaking at this government event, I believe, and he's going to show how this voice isolation software or stuff in DaVinci Resolve, which is free, is great. So that's really sort of the context. But what he's saying here is he's conflating many different things and he's confusing many different things, which you should know. If somebody doesn't really understand this equipment, they would be confused. So he says, when using the output of someone else's mixer and mics, he's not using anybody's mic. The guy's mic is not plugged into the F3. So he's talking about two different processes here. He's talking about a mic in into a preamp of the Zoom F3. He's talking about line level, which is completely different because the line level is already brought up to a voltage that no longer needs a preamp. Line level is meant for equipment to talk to each other. Kids in elementary school can talk to each other, get equipment to talk to each other. I never had a problem with it when I was the AV guy in junior high school a gazillion years ago, when I was a roadie for a band. This is never a problem to me. It's never a problem for anybody as far as I know. Look on YouTube for videos where people talk about the difficulty of matching line level input. Yes, there's gain staging, but that's a little bit different here because this is just taking, vocal audio from a mixer into a recorder. And I don't believe it's a problem for anybody. And it's funny because he says, "Oh, the legend of Curtis Judd." I think if you ask Curtis Judd's honest opinion, if the F3 has any advantage over any other recorder in taking a line output from a mixer, I think he would say no. So this is what's funny. Like Curtis is like the legendary Curtis. Like Curtis and and Lewis are best friends. They know everything. And these little YouTubers like me are just idiots. Okay. So anyway. When using the output of someone else's mixer and mics, you never know what to expect. Okay, so I'm going to just take the mics out because there are no mics going on. So what he's saying is when using the output of someone else's mixer, you never know what to expect. That's true. So a mixer can output a voltage that's too hot for a recorder. And if it is, there's nothing any recorder can do, the Zoom F3. If the Zoom F3 can take a maximum, let's just say, of a line level of 3 volts, and your mixer outputs 4 volts, it's screwed. It's not going to be any better than anything else. You would have to have an inline attenuator, right? That's what you'd have to have. So he says you don't know what to expect. Sure, it might be 75% of a volt, sorry, 3/4 of a volt, or a volt, or 1.2 volts. Sure, the line, there's different specs for consumer line level and professional line level, but it's basically within a certain area. you do know basically the output. It'd be a weird mixer that would put like a super hot, but if it was, the F3 would not solve that problem. So just in the case of line levels, he's basically saying that the Zoom F3 has this magic circuitry that can take a line level and then record it properly, where another type of recorder could not do it. And I don't believe that's anybody's experience. So he's making it up. He's just making up this feature. He's extrapolating from, yes, when you put a mic into a Zoom F3, the way it works is just does one gain setting, right? Just takes the voltage to one voltage, and then it puts it out to your computer. And again, I've done a video going into huge depth on this, but let's just accept that, okay, like the Zoom F3 you don't need to set the gain knob, the 32-bit float, captures perfect dynamic range. I mean, let's just accept it. Even if we accept all that is true, again, I don't, but let's say we accept it's all true, and it is true in a practical sense, it has nothing to do with line level input. Like, there's not a problem with matching line level inputs. And again, if it gets a voltage from a mixer that's too hot, it will fail, period. So anybody reading this might think, oh yeah, I'm gonna go get a Zoom F3, so whenever I'm out in the field and I go into any mixer, I never have to worry, it'll take care of it. No, it won't. Now, practically with today's equipment, it would, but no, I mean, why would you get it? You can do it with any other sort of recorder. Okay, so we're now gonna go to the meat and potatoes here. Okay, so now his second slide, it reads, I'm going to play with a new feature in DaVinci Resolve Studio called AI Voice Isolation. It's like Isotope RX5 Dialogue Denoiser, except it's built into the video editor for no extra money. So if you look up Isotope, it's not cheap. I don't know, it's a few $100s or whatever, right? So what he's saying is that, hey, this is expensive Isotope RX5. And by the way, Curtis Judd talks about Isotope all the time. Like, I don't know if they sponsor him or whatever, but anyway, Curtis likes it. Except it's built into video for no extra money. I mean, that's basically Curtis's whole thing, right? Like, you were all getting ripped off, right, by everybody and by all these tech companies. But hey, here's a good tech company where they're putting in this dialogue denoiser and voice isolator for free. Okay, so it says they give this to people for free. He means Blackmagic, that makes DaVinci Resolve, with new updates, even though I last paid for DaVinci Resolve 7 years ago. Now, he's basically also saying, like, hey, so you can pay for DaVinci Resolve, like a one-time $300 fee. So, but you can also just use it for free. But he's saying it in the paid version. So I don't know whether the voice isolation is in the free version. Let's say it's not. So he's just saying, hey, I paid for the 7 years, and I'm still getting the benefits of it. It's not like Adobe Cloud. It's not like Apple. It's not like all these tech companies, right? That every year or every month they're trying to like pull some money out of you. But this is what he doesn't, what I don't think he understands. He believes, so he's basically saying, think about it, he's saying, okay, let's just say Adobe Premiere, right? He's saying, okay, Adobe Premiere, you have to pay extra money to get, this voice cancellation, right? They're ripping you off with the cloud fee, with, the subscription and everything. But hey, look, this is other company that's put it into their system and they're giving it to you for free. But this is the reality. Now, where am I at in minutes here? 8 minutes. This is the reality you need to understand. He doesn't understand, again, because he's just every day pumping out these crazy ranty videos. He doesn't follow any of this stuff. He doesn't do any programming. So there are many university groups, people like frameworks, whatever, models out there that do various AI stuff. So like voice is like one of them. So you can, if you search on, okay, so I'm just reading from ChatGPT, which is something Curtis could have done in like 2 minutes. And these are some open source ecosystems, are DMUX, which is Facebook AI research, pseudo RF, Deep Filter Net, RN Noise, ConvaTAST-Net, UNet-based spectrogram separators, full band DCU variants, voice fixture type models. All these models are available on GitHub, and you can go find YouTube videos that say, hey, this is how you can download this on your computer for free and put any audio from it and, remove the noise or separate the voice. So this thing that Blackmagic is offering is already free. many different models that work many different ways that you can use. And I have an RTX card in my computer, and with Broadcast, or if I called the SDK, I can use it to do that. And I've had it for years. So Lewis is pretending like this is what he doesn't understand, is that all the big companies, Adobe, Microsoft, let's just use Microsoft, let's say Adobe, DaVinci Resolve, let's just even just again talk about those two. So when Adobe puts in this type of stuff, right, and it puts in, let's say, a voice isolator or noise reducer, or actually anything in visual effects, it goes to these libraries and it just reads them and figures out how do they accomplish it. It reads the research papers that these people put out for these models, and it puts the models, and then it trains it on its own data. So it's sort of borrowing from the code, which again is open source. These people have put it in the open. They're taking the open source, they're integrated into their neural system or whatever, right? They're training it on their own models and they're putting it out. That's what they're doing. They're not inventing it inside. Like Lewis has this very old, antiquated idea, like everything that Apple produces is produced by Apple engineers, and it's a drawbridge around it. And the only people that can get this special software are those that, you know, pay Apple for this or pay Adobe for this. And that's sort of true if you want the actual whole system, if you want the ecosystem. But it's not true for the things that these software systems do. The large software systems are built on other people's open source work. It's like, you know, that diagram of where if all Netflix and Disney and Prime and everything, and FFmpeg, which is another open source model, is at the bottom holding everything up. Well, it's the same thing here. So for him to say like, oh, DaVinci is basically, they paid all these engineers to give you something for free that Adobe paid all these engineers and won't give you for free is false. They both borrowed heavily from open source and put it in. Neither one of them are giving it to you for free. Programmers that worked on these open source projects gave it to you for free. That's who you should be thanking. In fact, that's one of the reasons I believe right to repair is important, but I'm not going to go down that thing. I don't believe right to repair is important because what Lewis says, because like you should have the freedom to fix your own equipment, though I think that's legitimate too. It's more because it makes us a dumb culture if we can't fiddle with equipment or technology, you know, if everything's closed off. So yeah, I mean, the Adobe stuff is closed off. I'm sure Blackmagic is closed off. So we can't see what they're borrowing. We can't muck with it, right? We can't fix it. So anyway, I just want to do this quick video to say that the whole idea that the F3 is going to give you anything in line balancing between a mixer and a recorder or your camera is just preposterous to me. I've never seen anybody have that problem. And then to basically insinuate that Blackmagic has spent a lot of money on development of a technology it's giving you for free because they're good guys, versus other manufacturers, which are bad guys because they charge you the money and they lock you into all these contracts, is nonsense. On these specific little functions, and anything in AI today, 90% of it is done for free by, you know, kids working in universities, just, you know, whatever, people who really want to, you know, who are into it. It's not made by these universities. They're just putting their wrapper around it. And it just blows my mind that Lewis is that, like, out of touch, like amazingly, embarrassingly out of touch. Anyway, I think that's enough. 14 minutes. Good night.